To a brand new edition of Bid Nerd, your daily nerd on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. Welcome. My name is JP. I am recording this show live in the container park in downtown Las Vegas, and we're feeding in to the show my partner Michael Deep from San Francisco in Deep Studio, deep in the cold depths of his basement studio there, looking good. Michael Deep, are those Christmas lights up in the back corner there? I think we need to move on. I think it's time to go, it's not the holidays anymore. We did all this work on the studio and you can't even decorate or decorate for the right season. What the hell? You got
green and red. Yeah, it's time to update the color in Deeb's house of Deeb's Dungeon.
I'm okay with the color. It's just the actual Christmas lights in the corner there. Is that what those are?
No, what are you talking about?
What is this? Can you see the cursor over here up above the steering wheel? That looks like Christmas lights or Christmas bulbs, but it's something else.
That's do you know the artist Jeff Koons? That's one of his balloon dogs.
Oh, I can see what that is now. I can see is the highlights in the especially in the smaller
and then I've got my Christmas gift from Godden was the thermos one year, and then the classic LV, the old Godden plate. I've got my Rubino, remember the vanity plate I had for Ruby when I was out in Vegas?
Well, I mean, as it turns out, that classic LV, classic Las Vegas, Godden Classic of Las Vegas is our sponsor. Yeah. So that's pretty appropriate to have it back there.
Absolutely. I'm working every detail. I got the Magnus Watkins steering wheel, Eddie Irvine's Ferrari helmet, and then over here,
none of which are these others sponsoring us at all.
No, then the Porsche box, I told you I followed Wick and I got the Porsche Classic steering wheel.
Nice work.
Yeah, so that's all the good stuff, man. There we go.
All right. Well, here it is, guys. If you're new to the channel, you're wondering what we do here. You saw the thumbnail about the car and you're like, what is this thing? So what we do is we find the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive sites like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Marked, P-Car, and more. We have a conversation about that car. We talk about why it's the most interesting car. And then we make a prediction as to what will happen with that car's auction. How much will it sell for? Will it not sell at all? And why? What's going on in the market with these particular cars? So let's get right to it. But before we do, make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. We are a fairly new channel. We're getting after it, and we love having people play along and bid with us. It's like Price is Right, only with cool enthusiast cars. So play along, put it in the comments down below what you think this particular cars are going to sell for or not. So let's get to the car. Michael D, what is today's most interesting car? This is pretty darn interesting. I don't think I've seen one of these in a couple of years on any of the auction sites. Okay. I mean, I've seen one in real life, but I've never seen one on any of the auctions. Have you?
No, they don't come around very often at all, and I'll get to that, John, because they're really rare. What we're looking at is a 1991 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, and what makes this car even cooler than the fact that it's just got the 300 is it's a 5-speed manual. And I believe, John, that the 5-speed manual in these cars is the same one that's in my Mercedes 190E 16 valve. I believe it is the Getrag dogleg first gearbox, which is a hell of a little gearbox. This thing works. Really neat car on Doug DeMuro's site. It's going to run at no reserve. Our car has 141,000 miles and is offered out of Newport Beach, California, with a clean Carfax. I love the black pearl paint job. It's got the black dash and gray seats. But the big thing here is the 5-speed manual. And to quantify that, I've got some numbers for you, John. Check it out. Where'd it go? Okay, so for the 120, the R129, this is allegedly, by the numbers, one of 242 that were made with a manual transmission in 1991. One of 242. So this these are pretty hard to find. These are pretty rare. Jason Camissa, who a lot of people probably know, used to have one of these, and very similar too. I think it was a similar color or black. Manual transmission. These cars are equipped with a 3-liter inline six that makes just about 228 horsepower and 200 pound-foot of torque. But Camissa, for years, contemplating taking the motor out of a C36, which is basically the same block as this car, and sliding it in, just literally do a motor swap. And then you'd have a manual transmission SL with about 280, 290 horsepower and about 300 pound-foot of torque, and you'd still have that 5-speed manual transmission, which would be really cool. He never did that. He did sell the car. This is not his old car because this car was never registered in San Rafael, but still pretty neat, and looks to be, despite the miles, in good condition. It's worth noting that these cars come with a motorized retractable soft top, but this car also comes with the factory hard top, which is, they're not standard issues, so somebody bought that, and that's really nice. So you get either convertible, soft top, or hard top if you buy this car. JP, it's a no reserve auction, so this thing is going to sell. I do my research before I put my bids in. I like to work with Haggerty. Haggerty says that when you see a 300 SL and it has a 5-speed manual, it is a 50% value add. So part of the reason why I thought this car was so interesting, so rare, and SLs aren't worth anything. This generation of the SL 500 or otherwise, even the 600s, don't bring nearly the money you'd expect for a quality built used Mercedes. But when you get a 300, which is the only one that came with a manual in our country, it's a 50% value add to the value of the car. So JP, I send it back to you. What do you think? Would you want to own one of these with a manual with a dog leg first?
Yeah, buddy. Come on. Look, the 300 SL, if you've ever driven one in the R129 or whatever it is, I mean, they are pigs. Yeah. This is not a performance car. It's so slow with the automatic transmission. But with a manual, it's like it livens the whole thing up. It's still painfully heavy. This is not a sports car. But rowing your gears definitely is going to make a difference. I love the idea of doing an engine swap, even with a standard 500 or 550, whatever. I mean, throw some coilovers on this, and now all of a sudden you've got something totally unique, totally fun. But there's no way to get around the fact that the thing weighs a gajillion pounds. When these came out, remember when these came out, how big a deal they were? Like what a huge step forward they were in design. I mean, this was like right at the turn of 89 to 90. Everything Mercedes made before that looked like the 70s or 80s. This was definitely
60s
or 60s right earlier. This was like, this is the future. This is what cars need to look like. It was like, oh my gosh, that thing is so high tech. The dash, everything about it was just like spaceship-ish compared to anything else on the road.
JP, picture all of our favorite cars from the 80s, M5s, 911s, and Mercedes SLs all had the same big, huge accordion metal bumpers. And as we rolled into the 90s, the 964 and, BMWs and the Mercedes, all the redesigns, all the evolutionary designs, everything then, the impact bumpers were integrated into plastic bodywork that was painted to match the color of the body. And all the cars just took a huge step forward in design and beauty, and probably a ton in aerodynamics as well. And so the SL is no exception to what you're speaking on.
I love the two-tone thing with black on the gray. I just love that. I don't know what it is. I can't imagine it on any other car, but something about that I don't know. It's like the Saab SPG did the same thing. A bunch of companies did it. It was very classy European look. And I remember the Japanese cars trying to like follow suit and trying it on like Mazda 626s and stuff like that. I was like, but it looked fantastic. I've got some fun stories spending time in one of these almost identical to this car, not with a 5-speed, but maybe I'll save that for the other half of the show.
Cool.
All right. So you say Haggerty gives it a 50% bump. I looked at this at the auction this morning before we did the show, and the number that it was at already was more than I've seen a 300 SL go for.
Exactly.
At least that, and it still has a ton of time to go on the before it's over. So I think this car is already at a premium. So where do you think this is going to land? What's this car going to bring?
Yeah, John, it's really it's very hard to say. It does have a few miles on it, but it looks to be in really nice condition despite the miles. Our car is sitting at $12,500 on 19 bids. It's a no reserve auction on Doug DeMira's site. The manuals are just so rare. I do think it's going to bring a bit more money than that. This is not a $20,000 car. It's never going to be a $20,000 car. I think cars will be outlawed off the roads before this car,
Hmm.
ever gets its, quote unquote due. But that being said, because of the rarity, because of the attractive colorway and the condition of the vehicle, I suspect, and I might be alone out here, but I think this car will bring 18,000 bucks. I'm guessing you're not going to be as optimistic as I am, but I'm just wondering how far under me you're going to dare to go, or are you going to chicken shit and go right up to like 17.5?
What? How much time is left on this auction?
A couple days, John. Let me read it to you as you start talking. It is Thursday, so 3 days from now. 3 days.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think look, this normally I go under. I do think this is a $20,000 car. I think that the miles,
You do?
the miles
I
on it, are high, yeah, but it's so rare. And, these are one thing you could say they're pigs, you can say they're not efficient, they're heavy, all these things, but they are incredibly reliable. This car is freaking bulletproof, man. I mean, that engine is a 300,000 mile engine, and it's not like the next generation of SLs that have the ABC, the F1 self-leveling stuff. There's not a lot of complications to this car.
Is this, John, is this the 914 of SLs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Could you pour dirt and Diet Coke in the gas tank and limp home if something happened?
I don't know. It's funny. That's an interesting kind of comparing the two, because it's like, but all 914s are manuals, right? And that's the thing about this particular car. It's the manual versus automatic, and all of these are automatic. All the 500s are automatics, 550s and whatever. They didn't make manual 320s. I know they did in Europe, but in America, you just can't get this car. So, boy, yeah. 18, is that... We see cars in bids, sometimes stuff kind of get to a certain place and then fizzle out and stay there and not get a big rally at the end like they always do on BAT or even P-Car Market.
Currently 19 bids, so the car is getting some action. People are definitely on this car.
Yeah, and it's a nice one. It's not a beat up version. I'm going to say 20. I'm going to go out there. I want it. I want this car to bring 20. I think this is the kind of car that someone's going, man, that's just not a lot of money. That's $20,000 is the new $10,000 basically. I think that you're getting a really neat car that just no one else is going to have. Anyone that looks inside this car, happens to glance inside, is going to be like, whoa, what's that? And that's a lot of fun for a car show, and it's a lot of fun on the back roads. I would love to pay 20 grand for something like this.
Nice.
So, what do you guys think? Do you think Deeb and I are nuts? Has this thing topped out? Is it not going to get higher than 15? Look, I'll say this too before we go to the break. If it were an automatic, I don't think it even brings 12 where it's at now. I think this car stalls out at like 7 or 8 grand.
$8,000.
Yeah. So so I think the 50% that Haggerty gives it in favor for the manual, I think it's more like 150%.
100%.
Yeah. I think this car is way higher than that from a premium point of view because of that third pedal. What do you guys think? Our friends at Three Pedal Posse, you got to love this thing. So shout out to them. Now is the time, right after you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. If you haven't done that already, now is the time to put your bid in and see if you're
manuals.
better at this than we are. We're going to find out right after this. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that going to be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's, we're still in Bid Nerds time. Thanks for sticking around. You got in your future machine, you got your future hat on, you got your future pants on, and it is time to find out the results of this, what I think is a really cool SL 300, not an SL 500, with 3 pedals. That's what they should have named them. They should have all been SL 300s they should name it for the pedals instead of the engine. Michael Deep, what are the results of this car? I got to tell you, disappointment land, right?
Yeah, this is a heartbreak. John, when we were on the air 5 minutes ago, the car was at $12,000 on Doug DeMiro's site on a no reserve auction. So as a no reserve, the car did sell on 23 bids. But you and I, boy, we outkicked our coverage. I thought $18,000, and to my surprise, you took the over. And again, I understand why you took the over. It's an attractive colorway. It's a rare option with the manual and the dog leg and the 3 pedals. And it's a nice car. Where would you find another? These cars come up so rarely. But sometimes you pay for your faith in people who just aren't the right person to help you with your problem. In the case of the seller here, he needed to sell this car. He ran it at no reserve, but he did it on Doug DeMiro's website. And I don't think Doug had the audience to support this car. The car sold, John, for just $13,050. And I do think that the seller left $5,000 on the table by not bringing it to Bring It Trailer. And again, you harp on this, that if you want to be quick to market, Cars and Bids and PCAR Market are your huckleberry. But sometimes it makes sense to take a deep breath, have a little faith that your car is worth the wait at Bring a Trailer, and then bring it to the biggest audience possible so that you can get the right money. Because I think this car was stolen at $13,000. I mean, JP, one of the two of us should have bought it for $13,000. Hell, you could have talked Rami into buying it for $13,000. You know what I mean? This car should have been in our family. I'm really surprised by that result, and I feel terrible for the seller because I would think he was expecting a little bit more money than that.
Yeah, I am so sad I wasn't paying attention to the close of this because I absolutely would have bought this thing. I mean, I remember when 2 minutes ago when we were looking at this car before we went in the future, looking at Cars and Bids. Cars and Bids is one of the few auction platforms out of all the Mark, BAT, PCAR Market. On any of those other platforms, you never see just a stalling out of bids on the last day. There's usually a handful of bids. It's super rare that on the last day you don't get any more bids or only one more bid or something like that.
Seriously.
And this car, when we were looking at it before we went in the future, how much more did it go? How much did it go up in the 4 days?
Yeah. So we looked at it a couple days earlier, and we were at 12,500 on 19 bids, and it sold for it basically made $550 more on 4 more bids. I mean, that's just awful. So it got basically $400 increment bids to close, and closed for what I think is, that's robbery. They lifted that car off the seller. That don't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, this car definitely. There's so many. This car would have been awesome next to your air-cooled 911 or air-cooled Porsche. Yeah. This is just such a great little cruiser that everyone's just going to get so excited when they look in the interior and see that stick. All right. Well, gosh, what a sad day for this car. What do you guys think? Was it wrong platform? Is this car just something that just nobody wants? Are we overly excited about a 3-pedal SL? Is that just ridiculous to get all jacked up over this thing? Is this just not that great a car? Michael Deep, this car and your 190 Cosworth
Could you imagine?
Such a cool pair. I mean, the same colorway, both with manuals, both with the dog legs. Holy cow! I wish you had this car.
I know. They're literally the same color. I just between you and me, I'm picking up my car tomorrow, so I should be getting it back real soon. Maybe we'll cover it on a show real soon.
Yeah, my good friend Michael Deeb, when I go to San Francisco, because we're not in the same place when we record the show. When I go to San Francisco, he hands me the keys to his dad's Alfa Romeo Spider. That thing is so much fun. But man, you hand me the keys to an SL 300 manual, that would be almost as badass.
Yeah, I would do that with the hopes that you and Rochelle would move out here. You know.
Yeah. Now that's a good joke. You guys have any
Yeah.
funny jokes to put them in the comments below, and we will see you guys on the most interesting car of the day tomorrow. Find out what it is, and we will see you then.
Get those nerds!